Thank you for watching this video. I will be teaching you how to read data from a Databricks table using a Streamlit Databricks app. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you'll need to do is create an app, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details about Databricks apps because I have another video with more details about that, so feel free to check that out if that's something you're interested in. But all you will do is within Databricks, go to Compute, and then once you get into Compute, you'll see this screen and you'll click on the Apps tab. From there, you will click Create App. I actually already have an app created because it takes a few minutes to set it up, but I can show you what that would look like real quick. So you will click on Create App. For this demo, I chose to use Streamlit as the framework, but as you can see, there's lots of different frameworks that you can use. So if you scroll down and click on Streamlit Hello World, create a simple app. This will give you a template of an app that says Hello World, and from there we can start building on it. All you have to do after that is give it a name and click Install. Since I already have one created, I'm just going to go back. And there you go, you have your app created. The next thing that you need to do is allow your app to use a SQL warehouse. So once your app is created, you'll go in and click Edit, and then I scroll down and I go to Next Configure. And then I'm going to add a resource. So you can see it's not just for SQL warehouses. You can add secrets, you can add access to Genie Spaces jobs, but for our purposes, we are going to need a SQL warehouse to read data from a table. And then I select SQL warehouse, and then from there, it'll give you a list of options of the SQL warehouses that you have access to. And I've actually already added that up here, so I'll remove that, and then you can assign the permission level and give it a key. And then you go ahead and hit save. So now our app has access to a SQL warehouse. The next thing that you need to do is you need to give your app permission to read and write to the table that we want. So the way we do that is actually the same way you do it for an individual user or a group. Every app has a service principal associated with it. So if you go to the resource that you want to give permissions to, in our case, it is this demo products table. So over in the Catalog Explorer, I browsed for my table. It's in Workspace, Catalog, Default Schema. It's called Demo Products Text. It's basically a very simple table that has information about shoe products. So an ID, the name of the shoe, and a description of the shoe. So then I will go to Permissions, and I will give permissions to the service principal, to my app's service principal, which is going to be the same. It's going to say app, and then some numbers, blah, 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 and then the name of your app, which, if you remember, is read write data. So I've actually already done that, but if I were doing it for the first time, I would go to Grant, and then I would start typing in the name of my app. You see that service principal pop up, select it, and then give it your desired privileges. In our case, we want to modify, and we want to select. And then I'd hit confirm. Since I've already done that, I'm going to hit cancel. And there you go. Now our app is able to select or read from and modify. So insert, update, delete our table. Next, let's jump into the code. So if we go back to our app's main screen, if I click on this right here, it'll open up the code, which is open in this tab. So I'm going to jump over to this tab. So this is the app.py for our code. You can see that there's an app.yaml, or the app.py for our app. We have app.yaml and a requirements.txt, but for today we're just going to be focusing on this app.py file. So first, you'll see some imports. We're bringing in Streamlit since that's our framework. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the technical side of this code, but I did want to show you a way to get this up and running, and then from there you can play with it and make it better. I also have linked my GitHub for this code, so that's in the comments if you want to just clone that code and copy it into your app as a way to get started. That's also an option. So be sure to look for that in the comments. So I'm going to talk through what we need to do to get to actually read the data. So first things first, we need to create this get connection function, which is used to establish your connection with the SQL warehouse. You can see that I plug in an HTTP path. That's the path of your SQL warehouse. And then from there, it uses that path and a few other things to create that connection. How do I get that path? So if you go to compute, and then go to your SQL Warehouse tab, and then find your SQL Warehouse, click on it, and then go to Connection Details, and then the HTTP path. I copied that and paste it right here in my code. So you can see here, I'm creating this con variable, which is the connection to the SQL Warehouse. After that, I have a function that reads the data. I'm passing in this connection, which we just established, and I'm also passing in the table name. And then from there, you can see we're using that connection. It has a method called cursor that you can use to execute SQL statements, and I'm just doing a select star on the table. And obviously, you could use any SQL operations, so you can add where clauses or joins or group bys, but we're just going to select star, get everything from that table, and then down here, you can see I'm calling this function, passing in the table with its full name, catalog, schema, table, and then that connection variable. And that creates this data frame that can be used within the Streamlit app. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the Streamlit, but you can see that I have the app organized into two tabs. One is for reading data, one is for writing data. In this video, we're just talking about reading data. A future one will talk about the second tab where we actually write back to the table. So in the first tab, I have two columns. In column 1, I have a filter where you can filter for a specific product. And then the most important thing in column 2 is simply how to display it. I'm not going to go into details about this filter. You can play around with it. But this streamlit.dataframe method, all you have to do is plug in your data frame and it will display it for you. So what does that look like? Well, let's go to the app. One thing to remember is anytime you make changes, you want to hit deploy, and then you can open up your app by clicking on this link, which I already have the app open up right here. Super simple app, nothing fancy. In this read data tab, we see the filter on the left where we can choose a product, and then on the right is that st.dataframe where we display the table data. And so there you have it. That's it. That's how you can get started in reading table data from a Databricks table into your Databricks app. Also check out my other video on how to write or make changes to a table from your app UI. Thank you. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more helpful content.